The air conditioning in Shen WenLang's business car was mercilessly strong, sending cold shivers down Gao Tu's spine. He hugged the child closer instinctively, the small bundle in his arms seeming the only warmth he could cling to. Silence filled the space between them, heavy and suffocating, broken only by the faint hum of the car engine. Gao Tu's mind raced uncontrollably. Memories, regrets, and fear tangled together, tightening like a vice around his chest. Each thought made him shiver more. His Omega instincts were screaming, warning him of danger, of the precariousness of the moment. Turn down the wind a little. Shen WenLang's voice cut through the silence, calm and measured. The words were gentle, but beneath them was an unspoken concern. Reaching across the middle seat armrest, his palm rested softly on the back of Gao Tu's hand. Gao Tu recoiled instantly, stiff and unnatural. He pulled away as if the touch itself might shatter him. Shen WenLang felt a pang of discomfort, but he hid it. He understood the deep fear and wariness that radiated from Gao Tu. He did not want to startle him further. Like a cautious predator approaching a timid rabbit, he moved slowly, carefully, his patience infinite. In the back seats, Gao Lilei clung to Gao Tu's neck, small hands gripping tightly. He should have been in the infant seat, but Gao Tu refused, and the child had quietly accepted, trusting his father's instincts without question. Meanwhile, Peanut Zhao Hasheng observed the scene with curious, oversized eyes, the pacifier bobbing with each subtle movement. Even at just under 3 years old, Peanut was precocious. He noticed the tension in Gao Tu's posture, the subtle hesitation in his movements. Shen WenLang's presence, so calm and familiar to him, seemed to intimidate Gao Tu, and Peanut's young mind cataloged every detail, quietly analyzing the situation. Gao Tu's Omega senses flared again. The faint apricot-like scent on Gao Lel's skin, it was familiar yet foreign. Maheng, an alpha whose pheromones had enveloped the child, an invisible tether reminding Gao Tu that danger and jealousy lingered nearby. His heart clenched. He feared losing this child he had fought so hard to protect. Shen WenLang watched closely. Gao Tu's hands tightened around the child, a subtle tremor betraying his inner turmoil. And yet, Gao Lilei seemed unafraid. He tilted his tiny head towards Shen WenLang, his gaze curious and open. There was a natural trust there, a silent recognition of blood ties, the unspoken bond between an alpha and his Omega lineage. Peanut, in his usual fearless manner, ambled closer, tiny shoes clicking softly against the car floor. "WenLang? Dad? Can they play with me?" The words cut through the air like a blade. Gao Tu froze. The sharp pang in his chest almost knocked the breath from his lungs. He instinctively hugged Gao Lil tighter, as if his embrace alone could shield them both from the storm of emotions swelling in the car. Shen WenLang's heart tightened at the sight. The title, Dad, from Peanut's lips was innocent, yet it carried weight, twisting the already tense atmosphere. He understood the chaos in Gao Tu's mind, the way misinterpretations and past wounds clouded perception. He chose to observe quietly, holding back the rush of words that threatened to spill from his lips. Gao Tu tried to regain composure, speaking softly to the child in his arms. "Very soon, we'll go home." His voice, though soothing, betrayed the fear and uncertainty coursing through him. His eyes darted away from Shen WenLang, avoiding direct contact as if the mere gaze could reveal more than he wished to show. But Shen WenLang was not easily fooled. Every small action, every hesitation, every subtle shift of the eyes, nothing escaped him. He sensed the layers of fear, guilt, and caution that cloaked Gao Tu like armor. The Omega's past, the sacrifices, the silent pain, all of it was laid bare in these quiet moments. "Who is this?" Peanut asked again, voice bright and inquisitive. Shen WenLang bent slightly to meet the child's eyes. "This is Zhao Hasheng, Hua Yang's child," he explained carefully, softly. Gao Tu's reaction was immediate yet contained. He paused, his mind processing the implications, the invisible threads of misunderstanding forming once more. He forced a smile, one that did not reach his eyes, muttering, Congratulations. Shen Wenling initially did not understand, until he saw the way Gao Tu avoided his gaze, lowered his eyes, the subtle tightening of his jaw. He realized Gao Tu's congratulations were not for him. They were for Hua Yang, for a misunderstanding that Gao Tu had somehow interpreted as intimacy between Shen Wenling and another. A sharp pang hit Shen Wenling's chest. He wanted to explain, to clarify, but he restrained himself. Gao Tu's pain was palpable, and the wrong words could push him further away. He had to tread lightly, move carefully, like navigating a fragile bridge suspended over turbulent waters. "I've been looking for you for a long time," Shen Wenling finally said, voice low, gentle, filled with layers of emotion he struggled to contain. His eyes met Gao Tu's briefly, only to snap away under the intensity of the moment, as if the simple act of looking could shatter both their hearts. Gao Tu's lips trembled slightly. He lowered his gaze to the child in his arms, murmuring, "Mr. Shen, since we all have new lives, let the past be the past." His voice was soft, tinged with shame and regret. "My father was wrong to blackmail you, but I aborted the child. I won't ask you for money." Each word landed like a hammer in Shen Wenling's chest. Pain, guilt, loss all intertwined in Gao Tu's confession. The Omega almost buried his face into the child's shoulder, hiding the vulnerability he could not otherwise express. Shen Wenling's throat tightened. He wanted to reach out, to reassure Gao Tu that it wasn't his fault. That the mistakes, the tragedies, they were not his burden alone to carry. Yet he stayed silent, letting the words flow, understanding that sometimes listening was the only way to truly connect. "I'm sorry for lying to you before. I can compensate you in any way you want, but please." Gao Tu choked on the next words, struggling to breathe through the weight of his fear and anguish. "Don't hurt my child." The confession hit Shen Wenling like a physical blow. He saw the sincerity, the unflinching kindness in Gao Tu's eyes, the raw humanity that had always distinguished him from others. Gao Tu's gestures were not calculated. They were real, honest, and vulnerable. Memories flooded Shen Wenling's mind. The small moments, the everyday interactions, the arguments and laughter, all the times Gao Tu had shown him a genuine presence that demanded nothing but equality in return. The little protests over cheap food, the stubborn denials, the way he had never bowed or fawned. The car remained silent, save for the hum of the engine and the quiet breathing of the children. Gao Tu's shoulders relaxed slightly, but his eyes remained wary. He was exhausted from the constant tension, the fear of missteps, the ever-present shadow of past trauma. Shen Wenling wanted to tell him that he had been lost, and yet he had found him again. That no matter how far they had drifted, no matter the pain or misunderstandings, there was a path forward. But the words remained unspoken. Instead, he focused on the subtle shifts, the small cues of comfort he could offer without overwhelming Gao Tu. He adjusted his posture, moved closer just slightly, and allowed his presence to radiate reassurance. Gao Tu noticed, tension easing, yet still cautious. It was a dance of unspoken trust, a fragile hope slowly rebuilding. Gao Lila, sensing the fragile peace, whispered softly, "Dad." His voice, small yet steady, anchored Gao Tu in the moment. The child's innocence, the silent recognition of familial bonds, reminded Gao Tu of what mattered most. He took a deep breath, hugged his child tighter, and allowed a faint smile to form, small yet genuine. Shen Wenling's eyes softened. The tension in the air, thick and suffocating just moments ago, began to lift slightly. The path forward would not be easy. There would be misunderstandings, fears, and old wounds, but in this moment, the fragile bridge between them had begun to form. And so, in the quiet of the luxurious business car, amidst lingering fears, misunderstandings, and unspoken words, two hearts began the slow, painful journey back to one another. The past was heavy, but perhaps, just perhaps, there was still a chance for trust, for healing, and for love. If you felt the pain, the tension, and the fragile hope in this reunion, make sure you don't miss what happens next. Hit that like button, leave a comment sharing your thoughts on Gao Tu and Shen Wenlang's reunion, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you can join us for part 3, where the secrets, emotions, and bonds will be tested even further. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.